That was a song called Sweet Sweet Love by Brewer and Shipley. Good morning,
Good morning, everybody. It's
Well-
great to be here.
Happy New Year, and welcome to Unity of the Valley.
We're Mark and Amy. We call ourselves Amy and Adams, and we've been playing for this wonderful group for years, and we're happy to be back. Happy New Year. Shall we start with a song about joy?
Let's do that. Let's open up joy into the new year. This is a song you'll probably remember from many years ago. It's called Joy in My Heart.
I have a joy, 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 joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I have a joy, 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 joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. I have the peace that passes understanding down in my heart, down in my heart. Down in my heart, I have a peace that passes understanding. Down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. I have a joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I have a joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart, down in my heart to stay.
Good morning, everybody. That's a classic song. Good old Joy in My Heart. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining Unity of the Valley's Sunday Cyber Service. I'm Mark Sowell, and I'll be serving as your service leader today. With the things opening up here a little bit with businesses this week, I found this statistic. Most people are excited they're going to get to go to restaurants again and to that gym. Tina, if you want to put up that slide for me. I think they said 87% of gym members didn't even know their gym was closed. Isn't that usually how it goes? Also, I thought this was fun. The next slide here. This workplace had a little fun. This is a dinosaur-free workplace. Over 25 million plus days since the last incident. So I thought that was kind of clever. We are blessed to have several volunteers who make this service digitally happen each week. Let me introduce you to our helpers this morning. Sarah Griffith will be making her debut as our daily word reader. Thank you for helping out, Sarah. Prayer chaplains Sherry Johnson will deliver the prayer box and lead our affirmations. Special thanks to Deanna Reese, who has created our beautiful slides, and Tina Reynoso, who is showing them today. It's our great pleasure to welcome back the musical duo, Amy and Adams. We're excited you could join us, Amy and Mark. Welcome back. Your folksy music is always fun and uplifting, and you've honed your craft after many moons of performances. Thank you for being here, even if here means being on Zoom. Also, we're blessed to have Debra Engle as our speaker. Again, she's given a number of talks and workshops for us, and we're grateful for her wise and thoughtful messages. For those of you who are new to Debra, she has written 4 books, including the #1 bestseller, The Only Little Prayer You Need, featuring a foreword by Dalai Lama. She also teaches writing and mentors our other writers, and she's co-director of the Story Summit Writers School. For the past 30 years, Debra has studied the renowned A Course in Miracles, and she now teaches it, helping bring this wisdom into our everyday lives. Her message today is titled, Claim Your Joy for 2021. After this past year, I think you'll agree we could certainly use some joy. We greatly appreciate our musicians and speakers who are willing and able to join us on Zoom until we can return to our beautiful center. A few reminders for you. Unless you have a role in today's service, please keep your microphone on mute until the end. Likewise, if you're multitasking, please do turn off your video so you don't distract others, and those controls are on your lower left. And finally, please refrain from using the chat feature during the service because it does distract from the music and the message. Thank you. Now, get comfortable, tune out any distractions, and let in the love and light. After the service, you're welcome to stay on to say hello to other Unity members and guests during our online social time, and your mics will be unmuted. At this time, we'd like to welcome anyone who's watching our Zoom broadcast for the first time. Please join me in this special blessing. We offer you peace, love, and friendship. We bless you, and we're glad you're here. It's now time for the reading of the daily word, followed by the blessing of the prayer box and the reading of our affirmations.
We now move deeper into spirit with the reading of the daily word. The word for today is prosperity. I claim prosperity now. When I feel tempted to wish for a more prosperous life, I remember my prosperity begins at the level of my thinking. I focus my thoughts on the many blessings already in my life and feel grateful. From this place of gratitude, it becomes easy to notice more and more blessings all around me. This awareness helps me develop an attitude of prosperity. I tend to my thoughts of prosperity as though they are flowers in the garden. I plant them in good soil and nurture them with water and sunshine. This rich environment allows prospering ideas to take root and grow. As I nurture these ideas, I am abundantly blessed in life, love, health, and joy. The scripture reading is from Psalm 36:8. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. Again, the word for today is prosperity.
Remembering that this prayer box holds an infinite number of virtual prayers. So I invite you to silently add your own name and the names of anyone in your heart or on your mind who may need prayer support. These virtual prayers are known and will be addressed by the infinite. We know that the truth behind all appearances of disharmony is the divine and perfect presence of the infinite, which we call God. We call forth within all people the wisdom and strength, the love and peace, the wholeness and vitality of this perfect presence. We affirm that the requests in our prayer box and in the hearts and on the minds are being received in divine timing for the highest good for all concerned. We send love and light, not only to these people and circumstances, but to our community, our country, and our world. May the love of God enfold us. May the peace of God uphold us. May the wisdom of God inspire us and help us to know in our hearts that all is well. And so it is. Please join me for the affirmation of the day. Divine joy flows through me, enlivening my spirit as it radiates from me and touches the lives of others. And our prayer for our beautiful spiritual center. We give thanks that Unity of the Valley is a prosperous, thriving, inspired, connected community. We are growing spiritually and manifesting our dreams and goals in an energy of love, peace, and joy. And so it is.
Surely the presence. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on his face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the loving power and the grace. There's a holy truth within me that nothing can displace. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
For today's meditation, I invite you to get comfortable in your seat. Close your eyes. Take in a big, big breath. Let it out with a sigh. Go ahead and take in another big breath. Fill up your lungs with air. And let go. And once again, big breath in. And exhale. Feel any external or mental chatter or distractions simply melt away. And allow yourself to turn within, to feel a sense of relaxation, of peace, and an awareness of the light within. And as you sit in this place of peace, allow yourself to feel energy flowing through your body, feeling it coming down from the heavens as a stream of golden light. Feel it coming down through your head, into your torso, filling up your heart, moving to your abdomen and the soul center of your being, down your legs and into this earth, and through your arms and fingers, extended out into this world. Know that this holy and sacred and divine light, this energy flowing through you, meets with the joy and the light and love within, filling up every single cell of your body, of your being, as though it is a river that's flowing through you. Infinite, steadfast, and filled with joy. Take just a moment to feel how effortless it is to connect with the joy within you, is as and in this light, and to be the bringer of joy into this earth and to all the world, knowing that it will be directed and used for the highest good, wherever it's needed most. Feel the beauty, the power, the strength, and the love in knowing that joy is not just something that you have, something that you experience, but it is something that you are. And remember that you can come back to this place, this remembering, this experience of it as the divine joy that you've been created to be at any moment, because it is just a thought away. Now take in a big, big breath. Let it out with a sigh. Take in another big breath and exhale. And one more time, breathe in and let it go with a sigh. And know that as you come back to this space and this moment, in every moment, you bring the joy and the light that you are. And so it is.
There's nothing like redeeming love. We are gathered on the banks as he's kneeling in the stream, weighed by thoughts of sin and care, and sweetness in his voice as he wakes up from his dream, freed by redeeming love. Redeeming love, redeeming love, how he gives his life for me. No, there's nothing like the sing of the soul when it is free, freed by redeeming love. Lost in the valley of dark despair, certain the sun won't come, worn by our thoughts that no one cares, and there's no redeeming love. Redeeming love, redeeming love, how he gives his life for me. Call upon sweet Jesus, 'cause he has set you free, free with redeeming love. Na, 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 na. Join the singer who is singing and rise up off your knees. Throw off your dark despair. Can't you feel your Savior coming? He comes to set you free, free with redeeming love. Redeeming love, redeeming love. Yes, he comes to set us free. No, there's nothing like the singing of the soul when it is freed, freed by redeeming love. No, there's nothing like the singing of the soul when it is freed, freed by redeeming love. Freed by redeeming love. Freed by redeeming love.
Mark and Amy, thanks so much for setting the tone for today as we talk about joy with a focus on joy. Here we are at the beginning of 2021 after a pretty difficult year last year. And we all know that it has been in some ways a pretty difficult beginning to this year as well. And yet we're talking about joy. Sometimes it may seem as though joy is unreachable, that it is unattainable, that it's floating around out there somewhere, and maybe if we're lucky, we're going to grab some and have it for a moment. But what we want to talk about today is how we can know that joy is not just something that lands on us if we're lucky, but that truly when we go within, as we did in the meditation, and we connect with that redeeming love, that comes from a higher power, that redeeming love that we were made to be and experience whenever we revisit that connection, that then we know that joy is with us always, and we don't have to go out and find it. Actually, all we have to do is go within and claim it. So this is about claiming your joy for 2021. I want to start with a story that may seem like it's about something a little bit mundane, but bear with me because it's something maybe some of you can relate to a little bit. I live in Winterset, just outside of Des Moines, and I'm the youngest of 6 children, and 5 of us all live in the central Iowa area. And in our family, we all grew up playing a whole lot of cards. So we are game players in the Midwest, I think a lot of us. And for a lot of years, we have played in my family something called Pepper. It's a card game that not many people know about, but we're kind of obsessed about it. So before the pandemic, back when we could get together, we would have Pepper tournaments. And the prize for winning the tournament was always this blue ribbon. Well, since there are 8 of us actually in these tournaments, this ribbon had been circulated to a lot of different people. We always write down the name of the winner on the back of the blue ribbon. And since 2011, I had never won the blue ribbon. So back a year or so ago, we had a Pepper tournament. I and one of my sisters, we were the only ones who hadn't won the blue ribbon yet. And I went into that tournament that day thinking, I want to win this blue ribbon. I think it's time. Either I want to win it or I want my sister Kathy to win it, but I think I want to win it today. That would bring me joy. So when we started playing, I realized that my thoughts were going so often to what everybody else was playing, or I'd pick up my cards and I'd evaluate them and I'd think, oh, I don't have a very good hand, or I'd compare my scores to everybody else's and think, oh no, I'm not going to win again. And then at some point there was this voice, the voice of spirit that said to me, how about if you changed your mind? How about if you thought a different thought? How about if you thought about the joy that you're having, not because of whether you win or lose the ribbon, but because of the joy that you are feeling right now in this moment, having this time with your family. This is even more poignant and more meaningful to me now since we haven't been able to get together to play cards or to have time together in person for a long time. But it made me realize in that moment when we were playing that I could really celebrate the love that I felt for my family, the gratitude for being in this life, in this body, even in this time where it seems like there's so much turmoil. I could feel an appreciation for feeling a connection to the divine. And so this may seem so silly, but in the middle of that card game, that card tournament, I started telling myself, I am having the time of my life. I'm having the time of my life. And every time I repeated that to myself, I could feel an inner joy that had nothing to do with what cards I was holding or what the score was. It was all about what I was feeling inside and my memory of that connection to something greater, to a greater joy. These tournaments take 2, 3, 4 hours. And the whole time after that, I heard that voice within, I started saying to myself, I am having the time of my life. And you know what? At the end of the day, when we added up the scores and tallied them all, I was the winner and I got my name on the back of the blue ribbon, which was a joyful moment for sure. But the real key to the whole thing was that I realized the prize was never the blue ribbon. The prize was never winning the game. The prize was knowing and experiencing having the time of my life throughout the entire afternoon. That was the real prize. Now, you may be asking, okay, that makes sense. This is a fun family game. I can see where you could feel joy and you could say, I'm having the time of my life in the middle of that. But how do we hold on to the joy? Can we say, I'm having the time of my life in the middle of a pandemic or in the middle of political turbulence or in the middle of maybe family relationships or whatever's going on in your life? Maybe family or financial or health concerns, can we still say, I am having the time of my life? Well, it may feel ingenuine sometimes to use those particular words, but the point is that no matter what's going on around us, absolutely, we can still go inside and we can find that joy that's in us through that divine connection that we feel. But here's the thing, and this is the thing that we don't often think about. We really don't talk about, but it is so true. The real problem with joy is that we're afraid of it. We are suspicious of joy. So let me talk a little bit about that, and we'll come back around to how we can still have the time of our life. Because once we understand the dynamics of joy and how our small ego minds try to keep us away from it, then we can start to really let go of all of the things that are standing in our way of feeling the joy within and connect with it no matter where we are and no matter what's going on without around us. So what do I mean when I say we are afraid of joy? That seems like a pretty insane comment. And it truly is insane. But our small ego mind often works from a place of what we might call craziness. You know, it takes the most wonderful things, love and light and joy and peace that are within us, and it tries to block us from feeling them. One of my best memories of being afraid of joy or suspicious of it is years ago when a friend had asked me to go through a personal growth weekend seminar. Well, I was not in a very good place in my life at that time. It didn't sound like anything that I wanted to participate in, even though she talked about how growthful it was and how remarkable the outcome could be in helping people get to a place of really loving themselves more, enjoying their lives more. And I wanted to have nothing to do with it. Well, finally, she talked me into it. I just had to acquiesce because she had asked me to join it so many times and I just couldn't say no. So my first experience of it was that I went to an orientation or an open house about this weekend seminar. And there were all of these people who had gone through the seminar before, and they were so happy. I walked into a room where people were smiling and they were laughing and they were joking, and there was a lightness of spirit. And do you know what my first thought was? My first thought was not, oh, I want what these people have. Oh, I'm in the right place because I want to be with them and like them. No, my first thought, because it came from that small ego voice within me, was, what's wrong with these people? You know, I looked around at that room at all of this joy and I said, what's wrong with them? They can't be that happy. This must be fake. This must be a trick to try to get people to sign up for this course. They're just acting like they're joyful, like they're having a good time. Isn't that telling? How many times have I and probably all of us walked into a situation and sized it up from our ego and said, oh, there's something wrong with joy? Once we start to become aware of that, then we can see, oh my goodness, am I suspicious? Am I afraid of the very thing that I want to have more of in my life? And once we become just even aware of that, then we can start to make a different choice and to counteract that fearful voice of the ego by claiming our joy. If I had known then what I know now, when I walked into that group of happy, joyful people, and I heard my little ego voice saying, what's wrong with them? I could have said, oh, isn't that interesting? Look at what my ego is saying to me. I could have asked for that thought to be healed. I could have said, boy, I don't need that thought in my life. And I could have shifted over to my higher self, to the awareness of joy and light within me. And I could have looked at all of those people and said, ah, oh, joy, more joy. I am in the right place. And this is what I want to feel in myself and bring to the world. I am so happy to be here. Okay, so why is it that we are afraid of joy? I think, first of all, it's important to talk about the fact that joy, sometimes we think about it being, you know, jumping up and dancing and celebrating and balloons and fireworks. We have some very high expectations of the word joy. We think that it's got to be bliss, that it's got to be that deep feeling of that can almost bring us to happy tears of such a connection to God, to Jesus, to spirit, to ourselves. And joy can certainly be that. Joy, though, can also be a deep sense of contentment. It can be maybe the quiet that you felt in the meditation just for a few moments. It can be a feeling of satisfaction. It can just be a feeling of connection to something that you're looking at out in the world, at a beautiful sunset over one of Minnesota's lakes, or over birds feeding at the feeder in the snow. Any of those things can truly be joy. And while we may call them by different names, they still are aspects of the part of us that remembers that we were made out of beauty and out of love and out of joy. So, why do we fear joy? Let's take a look just for a couple of moments at where that fear comes from. And then we'll talk about some ways that we can move past that fear and truly claim your joy. Well, if I think about why I was afraid of joy in that moment when I walked into the room with all of those happy people, it was probably because I felt as though at some point, who would I be if I became a happy person? If I've been in a place of darkness, if I'm holding on to my pain and my angst, even though it doesn't feel good, it feels familiar, right? And so to say to myself, yeah, I'm going to trade that in, even for something as wonderful as joy, can feel a little threatening to my ego self that's really trying to hold on to that identity of my hurts, my inner wounds, the suffering that I've gone through. Why does the ego try to hold on to that so much? Well, because when you think about it, think about how we often bond with one another. We often, if you said to somebody, how are you doing? Often the answer is going to be, oh, I'm doing fine, thanks. But in the next moment, if you really get into a conversation, it's very likely that you may start sharing what's wrong in your life, or what's hurtful, or the pain, or the sadness, or the grief, or what you're missing, rather than all of the things that are lighting you up and the gifts that you're feeling. We are really trained and programmed to bond through more of our pain, our hurts, our old wounds, rather than through our joy. It's not that it's a better way or an easier way to bond. It's just that it's the way that's become familiar. And so when we see joy in other people, even when we start to feel it in ourselves, our ego minds can very much be there to say, but if you go to joy, who will you be? And in that moment, we can be afraid of letting go of the, the us, the I that I think I am from the ego's standpoint, even though that can feel very small and limited. So it's that question, who would I be without my pain, that can make me feel afraid of joy? We can also be aware of the fact that we are taught that we're going to be punished for joy. I often tell the story of years ago when I had experienced something really fun and joyful in my life, and I was making my bed in my bedroom and was having that thought about something joyful that had happened. And right after that, I felt a fear. I felt like, oh, now I have to be careful because something bad will happen. The other shoe will drop. How many of us know that line, the other shoe will drop, right? Yep. And at that moment, and I'm not kidding you, at that very moment, I heard a clunk in my closet, and I opened up my closet door, and one of my shoes that I kept in those cardboard cubby holes that you put on a shelf, one of my shoes had flung itself out of that cardboard cubby hole and landed on the floor of my closet with a thunk. And I knew it was my guides, my angels, my guidance saying, we know you can be kind of hard-headed sometimes. So just in case you didn't get the message, there is no other shoe. You never have to be afraid. When you feel something good in your life, when you feel joyful, celebrate it, claim it, embrace it, experience it. Don't be worried about something bad happening because there is no other shoe. The only reason bad things seem to happen is because we're looking for them, we're expecting them, because that's what we've been trained to believe. But once we realize that there is no other shoe, then you have full permission to feel the joy of that moment going through you, and even to say, more, please. Universe, God, angels, bring me more joy, because the more joy that's in me, the more I get to bring to the world. Okay. So, and the other reason that we can be afraid of joy, honestly, is because we're afraid that it will make us socially unacceptable. This past week has been a hard week for people in our country and around the world. And you think about it, to stand in the middle of this week and say, wow, I am so happy, I'm so joyful. There can be just a sort of a little fear of, but maybe that's not really appropriate. Maybe I would be judged. It would be sort of like, being um, absolutely happy at someone's funeral or at someone's loss. It just doesn't feel appropriate. But here's the thing is that even when we feel like the joy in us is suppressed or like we don't have permission to express it, that we're not giving ourselves permission, here's the thing that's so key. The joy doesn't go away. If you think about it, in a thunderstorm, we might have a power outage, but that doesn't mean that electricity ceases to exist. It's just that our connection to it is interrupted momentarily. And that's what happens with our joy, too. That even when difficult circumstances show up in this life, as they always will, if we're counting on things outside of us to line up in the perfect way, for us to be in some perfect bubble in order to feel joy, then it's going to be fleeting for sure. The key is to go within ourselves, back into that source of that electricity, that river, that energy that is always running through us, and say, I get to feel that joy in me, no matter what's going on in the world. In fact, that's not a selfish thing. That is the most generous thing I can do, because it allows me to stand in the middle of this world that is in so much fear and darkness and turmoil, and shine my light and share that with everyone else. So let's talk about just a few ways that you can connect with that joy, to claim that joy every single day. First of all, again, know that it's not outside you. Sure, from time to time, you're going to be delighted by your kids or your grandkids, or by your experience at Unity, or by connections with family, by seeing something wonderful outside you. But the key, again, is to go inside and find it in you. There are certain things that can help you access that joy. For instance, nature. What a gift our natural world is to us for so many reasons. But one of the reasons is that every time you go for a walk, or you just look outside your window and you see the beauty of winter, of all seasons, of every time of day, it can remind you that we are part of this vast, infinite system of the beauty of nature, God's creation. We're not apart from it. We never can be apart from it. Just as nature is part of us, we are part of it as well. And let that beauty inspire and remind you of the joy within. You can do this with so many things. Listen to classical music. Find a funny podcast that you can listen to first thing in the morning. Read something or listen to something inspiring. Use the things outside you not as reasons for you to be happy, but as portals to your inner happiness. Okay? Of course, as you feel love for others, you will feel more love for yourself, and vice versa. So one of the ways that we can do that best is by ceasing to judge other people and ourselves. Boy, that can help us toward joy more than anything. Now, it may seem almost impossible to just stop judging, because certainly we're in a world where we need to discern and to make decisions and choices every single day. But you can tell when you are being hard on yourself or on someone else. And honestly, the quickest and easiest way to stop judging is to stop judging. To simply say, just as you would if you were going to block an incoming number on your telephone, you just set it up so that that phone number doesn't come through anymore. And you say to yourself, you know what, for 2021, my commitment to myself is that every single day, I am going to stop judging more and more and more, knowing that it's not my job I don't have enough information to judge anybody else, their actions, their motivations. I don't know what anything is for. I can't possibly have the bigger picture that the Holy Spirit and God have. All I can do is to remember that everything ultimately is working for my good and the good of all others. And that's what I'm going to connect to. Every time I start to feel myself moving toward judgment, I will replace it with, I remember and live out the joy in me. All is well. Okay. And just one other quick thing that I want to share about joy. This is a very short reading that I want to share, but I think it is such a powerful story about joy, and one that has helped me just think about it differently. It comes from the book, A Course in Miracles Made Easy by Alan Cohen. Alan is one of my heroes in all of the people who teach A Course in Miracles, because he explains it so beautifully and clearly. And he tells this story in the first chapter of this book. He says, while my friend and avid A Course in Miracles student, Cliff Klein, was watching television in the living room of his Brooklyn apartment, he heard a strange noise in the bedroom. He rose to investigate and found a burglar creeping in from the fire escape. When the intruder saw Cliff, he turned and began to flee. Wait, Cliff called to him. You don't have to run. I'll help you if I can. Stunned, the burglar stopped and slowly stepped back into the room. Cliff asked him what was going on in his life that had made him turn to stealing. The fellow told him that he had been fired from his job and lost his girlfriend. He felt powerless and angry and didn't know how he was going to pay his rent. Cliff invited the fellow to sit down and offered him a cup of coffee. Then he gave the young man some words of encouragement and handed him some cash, saying, "Come back if you want to talk some more." The fellow thanked Cliff and departed through the front door. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read that story, it was as though something in my brain just shifted. And I realized, oh, that's joy. That's the reversal of thinking, of going from our small, afraid ego mind that can so easily respond to anything by lashing out, by feeling hurt and afraid and attacked, and then going into a place of defense and even more anger. This particular man turned it all on top, turned it upside down, turned it on its head. He chose joy by saying, wait, I can help you. He went to the joy within himself first and brought it out in service to this young man. And that is when we can truly say, no matter what's going on, I'm having the time of my life. I am connecting with my joy, sharing it with others who need it. This is not about my taking on what's going on outside of me and feeling threatened by it. This is always, always about me going inside first, bringing that joy out to the world and saying, in this, because of all of the blessings and the love within me and how I can help others, I am having the time of my life. This is why divine joy flows through me, enlivening my spirit as it radiates from me and touches the lives of others. This is our affirmation for the day, and I hope you will carry it forward as you claim your joy for 2021. And so it is.
Lovely, thank you. I'm from Central Iowa, Marshalltown, and Pepper is a religion, and each community has its own denomination and rules.
We'll have to talk. Love that.
This is a song that I'm so proud of. I didn't write it. My beautiful wife, Amy, wrote this song, and she wrote it when she was waiting for surgery because she knew that life was a miracle. And she wrote it for a Unity Church service about 11 years ago because they wanted a New Year's song, and there aren't that many New Year's songs, are there?
This is called This Day is the Start of a Happy New Year.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da.
This day is the start of a happy new year.
Each day
I won't my fears. This year will be a gift in itself. This year I can start over again each day, doing the best that I can. And next year I can look back with a smile. This year I'll find the sun in the clouds. This year shine it on all of those doubts. This year I'll make it one of my best. Thank God I've got His love in my heart. It helps get me through the rough parts. I know this is the key to it all. This year will be a gift in itself each day, opening into such wealth. This day is the first of another year. This day is the first of another year. Each day we start a happy new year.
Thank you.
Yay! Their songs will bring you joy, right? And nobody can play a mouth trumpet like Mr. Mark, huh? That's wonderful. Thank you, guys. As always, almost every time I have Debra come on, well, you won't be able to see it very well, but I have lots of notes. Debra always gives me lots of wonderful notes. The couple things I'll say is the stop judging others. I love that. I think it's such a good reminder. We all do it. I mean, I think I'm pretty good about it, but when, as you said it, I just think of myself. I'd be surprised if we don't do it on a daily basis, and you just gotta remind yourself about that. And the other thing that I would say too is that you talked about it is being your own ego mind about socially unacceptable and judged, and don't be afraid to be yourself. So what I would say there is, most of you guys know I like to have energy and smile and provide humor and make people laugh. That's what gives me joy. But sometimes I get afraid of that. And in my ego mind, in work atmospheres or professional situations, I hold back, and I'm very more reserved because I'm worried about what people are going to think of me. But a good example is if you guys saw me on the Christmas service, I wore the Santa hat and my goofy shirt. Well, the next Monday, every Monday, we have a sale. All of our sales people have a Zoom meeting, and I wore all that stuff. And a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have done that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna. If they're gonna judge me, they're gonna judge me. I'm gonna have fun with this. And everybody, not everybody, but people are smiling and getting a kick out of it. So just don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't worry about the judgment. So, all right. All of us who are fond of and connected to Unity of the Valley are immensely grateful for your monetary contributions and participation in our services. One second here. It's looking like it could be a few months before we return to the center, and meanwhile, we still have considerable expenses to maintain the building. As we give our time, talents, treasure with gratitude and an open heart, we affirm the natural expansion of our own prosperity as well as that of the Unity of the Valley. Let's read the love offering affirmation together, and then you'll have time while Mark and Amy sing to consider your love offering. You may make your contribution after the service either by mailing a check to the center or via the donate button on our website. Please join me in our love offering affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am.
Be joyful in your giving, be heartfelt in your praise. We are always receiving
God's unending grace.
receiver, and joy in the giver too. Feel the joy of the Spirit in all you say and do. For God has freely given and freely gives today. If we would be his disciples, then we would do the same. If we would be his disciples, we must do the same.
Wonderful. That's a good mix up from our usual song. Thank you. Thank you. Now I invite everyone to join me in blessing all contributions and good of any kind so generously given to support Unity of the Valley this week. Together, we affirm that God is our source and we are the channels. We bless these gifts given in love that serve our spiritual family and flow out into our community and beyond. We are prosperous and blessed with abundant good. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. I want to remind you of a few opportunities as we move into the new year. 1 second here. Okay. Don't forget, you can recharge every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. On Unity of the Valley's Facebook page by joining in the live meditation, which is being offered at other Unity centers in Unity Village concurrently. Number 2, Lynn Woodland's Miracles course continues every Wednesday via Zoom from 7 to 8:15 p.m. for a donation to Unity of the Valley or any amount per class. It's on the honor system, and you can use the donate button on the website. Third, this month, Catherine Belisle's Max Meditation, which includes guided visualization, is Monday, January 18th, 7 to 8 p.m. Cost is $10 while we're on Zoom. Please register ahead with the link on the buzz or on our website. Our speaker today, Debra Engle, has given 5 excellent classes for us, available as individual recordings for $15 each, or a special price of $50 for all 5 recordings, a substantial savings of $25. This special will end January 31st, so hop to it. Please check out the buzz or our website for details of any of these opportunities and register for a class or order other recordings. Now here's another opportunity we don't want to miss. Unity of the Valley is sponsoring a webinar workshop titled Free Yourself for More Joy at no cost to attendees. The board has engaged Debra to create and lead this because of her expertise in A Course in Miracles and her excellence as a presenter. The course approaches energy clearing differently from the usual understanding of forgiveness, taking the highest perspective aligned with spiritual reality. The intention is for past and present Unity of the Valley attendees to bless themselves and our center by creating a positive personal energy shift, which will also be a valuable contribution to the revitalization and expansion of our entire spiritual community. That said, anyone and everyone is welcome to take this webinar, so feel free to share the link. We'll use journaling, guided meditation, and passages from A Course in Miracles to clear thoughts and emotions that are keeping us stuck and depriving us of joy. It's powerful, affirming process, allowing a new level of peace for us and our relationships in the coming year and beyond. Participation will be via the chat function with Debra only, who will respond to questions and comments. The workshop is being offered tomorrow, January 11th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. If you haven't registered, make sure you register. Our capacity is 100 and we are currently at 96. So we're just about at capacity. So don't miss out. If you are on the list, you'll get another reminder after the service today with the link, or you can get the link on our website. Register to attend and you'll receive a recording after the event. If we're full and you can't get in, send an email to info@unityofthevalley.mn.org or call the center's number 952-895-0745 and leave your name and email address and we'll send you a recording. Don't miss out. Let's free ourselves for more joy for free. And speaking of joy, do join next Sunday because singer and speaker Denise Rosier will be back to bless us with her fabulous music. Dog lovers, you will especially enjoy her message. And finally, if you don't receive the weekly buzz and would like to, you can opt in at our website, unityofthevalley.mn.org, or email us at info@unityofthevalley.mn.org. You may submit prayer requests for our prayer chaplains at the same email address or ask a prayer chaplain to call you. We also encourage you to like our Unity of Valley Facebook page, or follow our YouTube channel, and visit our website to learn more about us. Please now join me for the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am that light. The love of God enfolds me. I am that love. The power of God protects me. I am that power. The presence of God watches over me. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever God is, I am. And all is well. And finally, my quote and thought for the week. A good life is when you assume nothing, do more, need less, smile often, dream big, laugh a lot, my favorite part, and realize how blessed you are. All right. Thank you for joining us today. Be well, and please stay connected with Unity. If you'd like to be part of the Zoom social after the service, just stay logged on after the meeting of our closing song, and say hi to your Unity friends and guests. We'll conclude now as Amy and Mark lead us in our closing song, This Big Light of Mine. Feel free to shine along at home and sing.
This big light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This big light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This big light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Well, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Won't hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. I won't hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's do a little light. This big light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm singing this big light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This big light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.